So ABC just pulled Jimmy Kimmel's show off the air indefinitely. And this comes after threats from the FCC, who said they were going to shut down the network over part of a monologue that Jimmy made about Charlie Kirk's killer being associated with MAGA. This is a very big deal, and I want to talk about why. So here's what happened. On Monday night's show, Jimmy made some jokes in his monologue about the Charlie Kirk's killer being associated with MAGA. I personally felt like they were pretty mild. Take a listen to what Jimmy said.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Trump's inner circle did not like this. Trump probably did not like this. We all know how he feels about being made fun of. So it's important to note that the FCC director, who really got up in arms about this and was threatening action and telling him to apologize, he is Trump-aligned. He's a Trump appointee, right? He works for the government. His name is Brendan Carr. And he went on a podcast, I believe actually it was Benny Johnson's podcast, who is also associated with Turning Point, which was Charlie's company. And he called them he called these jokes the sickest conduct possible. So yeah, he threatened to take away the TV station's permission to broadcast, which, is not nothing. And then it seems like they got scared or spooked and they took the show off the air with no word on if or when it is coming back, just saying that it has been pulled indefinitely. Now, why is this such a big deal? So here in America, we have something called the First Amendment. The First Amendment. It's, an amendment to the Constitution, and it is freedom of speech. Basically, just like a little Schoolhouse Rock style reminder for those of us who maybe didn't pay attention in history class, the government isn't supposed to be able to punish people for saying things that they don't like. Period. Which, ironically, is kind of everything that Charlie Kirk stood for. He was a big proponent of freedom of speech and very against cancel culture. So this feels weird. But the First Amendment it covers free speech. When a government official threatens to take away a TV station's license, if they don't silence a comedian, that's like using their power as a weapon against free speech. I really try not to be alarmist. And honestly, if you are in tune with the news cycle and read as many things and follow things as closely as I do, it does take a lot these days. I mean, it's all very concerning to me, but I would say I have a higher level of tolerance for getting shaken up about things just because I guess there's some level of numbness there because I'm looking at it all the time. It's not often that stories stop me in my tracks, and this, I read it and I audibly gasped because there have been a number of concerns over free speech lately, but for whatever reason, this really escalates everything. I think because it really did seem fairly mild, and B, it's a very big deal. I mean, this is a late night show on ABC. the key phrase for all of this is that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. It says Congress, but this has been extended to all of government. So even though this came from the FCC director, who's not technically Congress, it's in the administration, it's still a government official is attempting to silence speech and press. I mean, the FCC chairman threatening to revoke licenses over speech content. It raises the most serious of First Amendment concerns. And this is not just like a legal battle. This is something that everybody needs to be concerned about. When you are living in a society where the president and the party in charge is literally going after media corporations, journalists, citizens for what they don't like that they're saying, you don't have freedom of speech anymore. When you are facing retaliation and repercussions for speaking what is your truth. And we all have different ideas of the truth, right? That's why it is like freedom of speech. So this particular topic has been really heightened since Charlie Kirk's murder last week. Immediately after that, there was a lot of online discourse. He was a very prominent figure in politics, right? So a lot of commentary and sadness coming from the right, obviously. They were very fond of him. He was a very important figure to them. So a lot of that. And then there was a lot of commentary from the left. Personally, I follow a ton of left-leaning politicians, creators, journalists. I did not see any real examples of anybody celebrating his death or anything like that. There are always going to be people on both sides who are going to type their like most unhinged thoughts on the internet, things that maybe should stay in the group chat, but who am I to judge what people talk about? And you know what? It's like we have freedom of speech. And as long as that speech is, there is the freedom of speech is covered by, that protects you against government retaliation for what you're saying. If it's on a platform, obviously different social media companies have their own different policies, and that's different. That's like the private media legal policy that you agree to when you're using a platform. But anywhere you're talking, if you're in this country, you are covered by freedom of speech against government retaliation. Immediately after this, Republicans, right-wing media, started sharing people who were talking about Charlie Kirk's death in a way that was not appropriate to them. Some were definitely not appropriate to me either. Some were literally just reposting Charlie Kirk's direct quotes word for word. Like, it didn't even have any commentary added to that. Just resharing his words. And these right-wing media personalities started screenshotting and putting these up on a website and then encouraging everybody else to do anything. So people were doing this to their immediate friends and networks that they were connected to. So people were saying these things on their private Facebook accounts, thinking it's never going to like get on like a national site where a lot of different people are talking about it, but they were encouraging people to send them from all over. So now you've got these websites with lists and lists of people, and they say exactly where they work, what city they live in, all this personal information. And then the call to action for all of this is for folks to call their employers and try to get them fired. And these people are facing threats over getting fired, violence, you name it, which is the point of sending the dogs after them, right? That's what they're doing. All of this obviously brings a First Amendment concern as well. And actually, Derek Van Orden, who is a congressman in Wisconsin, who is known for screaming at people, even children, was very offended by the way people were talking about this. And he went as far as to introduce legislation saying that he would take any federal funding away from somebody from that area, said something negative about Charlie Kirk's death. This is ridiculous. And just to show how ridiculous this is, I'm going to show you a clip from Megyn Kelly a couple days ago, because this is an interesting thing that seems to be causing a rift within the people on the right? So you have It seems to be a pretty mainstream thought right now, that attacking freedom of speech. But you have a lot of people on the right that, I mean, freedom is their thing, especially freedom of speech. So there is a big group of people who are not down with all this. And I saw a clip from Megyn Kelly the other day that I think we need to see. So take a look at this.
Pam Bondi said one of the dumbest things you can say as an attorney general. Do we have it here? I'm looking on my SOT list. Yeah, here it is. She went on Fox News and she went on this podcast with someone named Katie Miller. It's unbelievable. There was absolutely no pushback, but here's what Pam said in SOT 18.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Okay, so that is Stephen Miller's wife, my team reminds me. And while her husband fully understands the law, I mean, honestly, while her husband fully understands the law and has been behind the most critical policies of the Trump administration that have been very successful, she clearly doesn't, and she doesn't understand the conservative movement, or she would not have asked that question. What kind of a question is that? It was completely teed up in a way that sounds like a lefty. Are you going to crack down on hate speech? What the fuck? That is not a question that a conservative would ask. I don't understand what's happening there. And then for Pam Bondi to not say, whoa, sister, we on the right do not crack down on hate speech. We don't believe in that nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, she nails it. And Pam Bondi is the attorney general. For her to get involved at this level and just like feed into it, you know, and even though she's Trump appointed, she's law enforcement and she's supposed to help the nation. But it's clear she's working directly for Trump and his wants and needs and protecting him. It's like she's acting as his personal lawyer. This is something that we need to be talking about with friends and in circles that aren't even political. I think it's a really good opportunity because it is a very big deal. It's very concerning. And I think with it being surrounding Jimmy Kimmel, it's a culture reference that a lot of people are going to understand, even if they don't follow politics. So stay tuned for more. Going to be following this closely as all the other news stories. The Epstein files still have not been released, by the way. But I don't know, guys. This feels significantly dark, and that's saying something.